Good morning, Christopher. Thank you. My name is Nate Roberts. I am the CEO of Practical Building Systems, LLC. Practical Metals is a division in our primary architectural division. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you having me on today.
Of course, man. We appreciate you. This is really cool to talk to somebody in a unique industry like this, and I want to examine your journey. So give me the vision, and then how did it come about?
So let's talk about my business partner.
Okay.
So my business partner is also my son. Some of our clients don't even realize that that we are related until they hear us and we sound exactly alike on the phone. But I was beating my head against the wall in the corporate world. I had golden handcuffs. I was working for a company that had promised me the moon when it came to what we were going to be able to do to service customers. Failed, never got ahead. Not that what we were doing, but what was promised never came to fruition. And during this 2-year journey, I watched my business partner go from a high school baseball player to a college baseball player to COVID hitting and him deciding he's done with college baseball, which meant he's done with college. And fast forward, he tried a couple of things, but he went into the auto industry selling cars. He got a PhD in sales in the auto industry.
Oh, man.
I mean, quite literally, if you can sell cars effectively and get people to earn their trust, you can do really well. But he was also at this point beating his head against the wall because, I mean, he's selling 8 or 10 cars a month because it's post-COVID and they don't have any cars and making good money, but he's bored out of his mind. So one Friday night after we're discussing and may not be having a couple of adult beverages, he says, we should just go do this on our own. We should just put your connections together with our client base and go do this on our own. And on a Friday night, I sent in my resignation email.
Man.
And we went and did it. And he and I are built very similarly. We don't burn bridges, but when we go all in, we're going to burn the boats. I mean, we're going to disassemble the boats and use those resources and assets to move forward. So that was the vision. We kind of thought at that point we were just going to be a middleman sales rep situation, and a little over 3 years later, we're in 12,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution, and we're having a blast supporting our client base. So yeah, that was the vision. I mean, we're at year 3 where we kind of thought it would be at 5 or 7 years, and we're just having fun.
Man, that is so cool. First of all, it's cool to have your son as your business partner. I've dealt with a lot of people who tried to have their wife, different people who are close to them, and it rarely ever worked. But so that's really cool for y'all to be able to have that bond and then build that. Now, I know it sounds like a fairy tale and y'all are kicking it, but tell me some of the things that in the vision stage kind of went wrong and you had to kind of adjust.
For Chance and I, we've always had the same vision, and the vision is to support the client, fill a need. We all, as entrepreneurs, we want to work for ourselves. We want to do something to support our families, to make money. But if you fill a need and do it well, you don't have to reinvent the wheel or have this big vision other than how do we do things better than other people. For us, the wheels came off, if you will, when he and I were driving a truck and a trailer and delivering each day ourselves and picking material up here and taking it here. And we never got to sit and work on the business side of it. We went through software. And Chance will tell you, this was me. We tried to use, the simple versions of QuickBooks or Peachtree or some smaller industry softwares that all failed. And then we had to invest, $30,000 in an on-site server and real software to run our business. And we look at it and we go, where are we going to come up with $30,000? And okay, you know what you do? You go sell. You put the money away and you pay for it, and you eat ramen noodles and rice and beans and you go after all of it. And the funny part is our first employee was my wife.
Oh, nice.
We had somewhere between $750,000 and $1 million in jobs and materials that we had sold that I had not invoiced. The customer had exactly what they need because that's our vision. Get the customer what they need. And we were so focused on that I realized I've got all of this money that I've yet to invoice. Yeah. And from the time I invoice it, it's going to take time to get paid.
Yeah, the cash flows.
So I literally begged her. I said, I don't have any money to pay you, but can you help us? And she did, and then she became our first hired employee. You'll have to ask her how it is working for her son, but but the pitfalls for us, we don't celebrate wins long, and we don't look back at losses long. They are what they are. They've happened. Let's regroup and go. And, for me, I watch a lot of podcasts, YouTube, a lot of these guys. And one of my favorite guys is Jocko Willing. And if you know Jocko, he's got a speech called Good. And no matter what happens, good or bad, if you can look at it and go, good, I learned from this. Good, I'm still here. Good, we can do this, and move quickly. Indecision will kill a business.
Oh, man.
A lot faster than a bad decision. And man, the world moves at such breakneck speed today. If you don't have the ability to make a decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, you're going to fail. You've got to be able to make a decision with the education and the knowledge that you have at that time. And only 30, 60, 90 days later will you know if it's a good decision or a bad decision. So getting through those pitfalls it's just time. Mm-hmm. It's figuring out how do you pivot, which is also the advantage of an entrepreneur. So being able to change, being able to adjust. Large companies can't do that.
No, not on the fly like that. Too many things have to be checked and going through too many hands. You're exactly right. Yeah. And then also, I bet even in your small business, you have more of that personal touch with your clients, correct?
1,000%. Even though I personally, most of our clients are my friends.
Okay.
I know I've got a client right now who's going through some health issues, and he's one of our smaller clients, but I talk to him as much as I do, a guy that's doing $1 million a year with us. Mm-hmm. And I care, everything is relationships. I just found out on the way over here that our banker's assistant is in the ICU. Mm-hmm. She's an incredible woman and has helped us, for the last 3.5, really longer than that, because we've had a relationship there beyond the business. But it is those relationships. It's all of the little bitty things that it comes down to people. And we know what's going on in our clients' lives, not only the business side, but most of them, the professional side as well. And they call us to have those conversations. Every call is not about an order or a job or, a technical requirement. So it still comes down for the small business entrepreneur to relationships. Period.
Okay. Now, Nate, what you said was amazing. You kept it going and you're seeing the fruit of building those relationships. Now, how do you guys keep that culture as you grow? How do you keep that culture to where you're passing it down to everybody else you bring on the team?
So along with and similar to Business Minds, we have began to run the business on a system called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Mm-hmm. I don't know how familiar you are. We went that route because I told you I'm constantly digesting books. Let's clarify. For my wife's benefit, I don't read. I audible. I'm not dyslexic. I'm just lazy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't eat.
Us audible people do get a bad rap. We don't read the book. We do.
I just digest it better. So I've started using the term I digested the book.
Use that.
So I digested a book by Gino Wickman, who's the founder of EOS Worldwide. And it just set the stage that one of the key factors is your core values as a business. It's what we hire by. It's what we fire by. It's what we retain people by. If you don't meet the core values, I don't care what your skill set is. I don't care how good of a salesperson you are. If you're not 4 out of 4 for our core values, you don't work here.
Man, I love it.
That's hard. But what it does is it aligns everyone in the business. We just hired a new operations manager who in EOS, he's also my implementer. And I love the fact that you use the term visionary because they use that same term. Every business has a visionary. And as Chance will tell you, my vision is big. God did not bless me to think small. If somebody says, oh, it's going to take 6 months to do it. Great. You have 45 days. Why? Tell me why you can't make this happen. If you see the vision, what's the restraints keeping you from doing it in 45 days? I mean, we've taken this business from nothing in 2023 to this year we'll run $11 million plus.
Oh, nice.
And it's by focusing on our core values and support of our customer. And everyone who comes to work for us meets that and understands. Get in the boat, row the boat, don't rock the boat, or we will gladly help you find somewhere else that you can go be your best, but it's not here. If they don't buy into that, they won't last. Now, knock on wood, we've yet to have anyone who started with us leave. We hire ahead so that we do our best not to overtask anyone but the owners.
Okay.
We have done our best to bring people in early to prepare for growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas most companies will hit a plateau at $1 million and then they'll bounce off that plateau for a while and they'll say, well, now I need to hire someone when you should have hired someone 18 months early.
Yes.
We get way out ahead of that. One of our first consultant, I'm not a finance guy. As a matter of fact, if you looked at my finances, it'd be a little scary. No one wants to steal my social security number. Let's just put it that way. But, and I joke about those things, but we hired a fractional CFO and her knowledge base of how to run the finances of a business and predict cash flow and look at those things because we're sales guys, right? I sold it. This is what it cost me. This is what I sold it for. That's profit. No, it's not because you have all these ancillary costs that go into it. I'm a sales guy. I mean, I'm an old school, I'm a Marine, eat crayons, and I sell. That's what makes sense to me. So we hired our CFO, our fractional CFO, who is now working toward becoming our full-time CFO.
Okay.
Those things now, I don't spend 20 hours a month trying to make sure our books and our cash flow is there, that we have money in the bank, that these things are paid. Between our director of administration, AKA my wife, Chance's mother, between her and our CFO, they handle it. We have a once a week meeting. It takes us less than 90 minutes. We get the updates. If there's a problem, we address it. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that was actually perfect. No.
Man, it's just so many things that go into it. And we can go down all the rabbit holes that you want to when it comes to how these things. I am actively learning. If anyone in our company is behind, it's me. Because every person that we hire to take a task off of my plate or off of someone else's plate actually creates more work for me. Because now I have to make sure that they have everything that's set up. And until we get beyond that plateau where we've got enough people in place to do all of the jobs, I'm creating 7 jobs for myself every day. And I just discovered GTP. I just discovered chat. Holy cow.
Yeah. And if you use that right, I could see it really helping you guys out in a lot of different areas. Now, I do want to say one thing. So with this culture and how you bring people on, how important is it for you to be the model?
It's absolutely a requirement for Chance and I to be the model. You can imagine, Marines,
sort of
veterans, I'm a stickler and you better be here early and I'm not that. I need you to do your job and I need you to do your job without me telling you how to do your job. We delegate. And
nice.
When I give you a job to do, that is now your job. I'm not here to micromanage. I'm not here to tell you I'll tell you how I did it.
Yes. I love it.
But now I need you to put your own stamp on it. I need you to
own it.
And it's your responsibility. You're going to answer for it. I want lazy, efficient employees. A person will find the easiest way to do a job if you let them. Now, you've got to meet the requirements.
Mhm.
You've got to meet quality. You've got to meet consistency. You've got to meet volume. I don't care how it gets done. If you stroll in, we start work at 8 some days out in the shop. I'm not going to tell our production manager, Mac, if everyone's not here working by 8:00, there's a problem. Why? Why do I need that? No, I need the jobs done.
Yeah.
I need the tasks done. And it's his job to make sure that they get done, not to have somebody there at a certain time or leave at a certain time. And the funny thing, by doing that, I fully believe we minimize overtime costs. We minimize, if they need something to do their job easier, tell me how the company saves money by spending it right now. And I'll do it. It comes down to a simple thing. Have you driven a forklift?
Yes.
Okay. So on a forklift, the forks adjust in and out manually, which means if a pallet is a different size, you have to get off, you have to flip it, you've got to manually push it. If I spend $3,000 when I buy a forklift, I can put what's called fork adjusters on it, where the driver of the forklift can adjust them from the seat without having to get up. By my calculation, because of the different size pallets that we use, I calculate that we save 35 to 40 minutes a day by getting off, adjusting, and someone's not hurting their back. Someone's not getting up and down on the forklift. They don't risk stepping down and twisting an ankle. They're not having to get off. Did I put the parking brake on? Did I put it in neutral? None of those concerns. So why would I not spend that money up front to give you a piece of equipment to do the job simpler? So many people look at it and go, oh, that's $3,000 I could save. I made it back in 2 weeks. I promise you. And I've made it 100-fold the whole time we've had that forklift.
Well, and think about what it does for your employees. They know that, hey, if I need this job done, my company's got my back. They're going to be more loyal to the culture, the vision, where they're going. So it's really invaluable. I mean,
absolutely,
to have that mindset. And that is so unique, because entrepreneurs, I think sometimes, well, the ones I've dealt with before had a vision, but the roadmap was kind of icky. And a lot of the times it was things like that holding them back. Like, hey, why wouldn't you spend this to get this? I have an example. I had a young man. He was a plumber. And he had been plumber for maybe, I guess he wasn't too young, but maybe for like 10 years. And he said, hey, I needed a website. He spent 3 years to learn how to code, to build his own website, just so he could save the money. And I was like, you didn't save any money. You didn't save any money. If you focus on being the best plumber you could be, and then you delegate that money, invest that money into somebody who can do your website, you can focus on what you got to do. I was taken back, like, whoa. So did you start building websites to make money now? He's like, no, I just wanted to do mine. I said, you wasted a lot of time. Because time we can never get back. We can always make more money. So when you're talking about your growth and how you got to where you are in such a short time, I could tell by it's the mindset and the way you're looking at things and the way you're doing things. Because a lot of entrepreneurs do things that hold them back, but they don't see it as holding them back.
Can I plug a book?
Plug it.
Okay. Dan Martell's book, Buying Back Your Time. You dealt with my assistant, Riley. Everybody's like, he's got an assistant. I told my daughter still gets irritated. I try to have lunch with my daughter and our grandson once a month. Hey, Riley's going to get with you. She's going to put it on my schedule. She's like, Dad, can you just do this yourself? Why? Now, I have autism. Okay. So when I go all in on something, for example, my assistant, everyone has to comply because that's how I operate, which I'm working on, right? I'm as an entrepreneur, like you're constantly working on yourself, but you dealt with Riley. The amount of time that Riley gets back for me to do those things, you have one commodity, and that's time. One. So we manufacture a flat sheet product. When we started, it took 14 minutes to cut a pallet of 50 flat sheets. Okay. The machine speed does two things. It will run at a certain speed, stop, and cut to length. And then it has a delay setting. How long does it take us to adjust that sheet so that it's stacked neatly? Cut a second instead of 3-second delay, cut it down to 2 seconds. It buys you back a full hour and a half a day. 1 second, 3 people buys you an hour and a half a day. People don't measure that. And time is money. And in Dan Martell's book, it talks about looking at those things that cost you time. Someone loves doing that. Whatever that is. This year, my son and I, we were stressed out every Saturday because we come home and our yards, it doesn't take but 3 hours to mow your yard, right? But between the two of us, that's 6 hours a week. Do you know what we can accomplish for our work in 6 hours a week? 6 hours. So we hired someone to take care of those things for us. The first day, I like those kinds of things done on a Thursday or Friday so that when I'm home for the weekend, I can enjoy it.
You can enjoy it. Yeah.
Right? And the first time I call him and I go, how is it not having to climb on the mower on a Saturday morning for 2 hours? And he's like, this may be the best money I've ever spent. It's hard for us. Now, if you enjoy that, if it's peaceful for you, if I've got another friend, he refuses to hire someone, and he's a business owner because he enjoys that.
That's what he likes to do.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But if you can buy back your time at a lower rate than what you average, it allows you to work in your sphere of excellence. And when you're working in your sphere of excellence where you love what you do, you make money doing what you do, and it's not really work because you enjoy it so much, the more time you can spend in that sphere, the more successful you're going to be. And hand off all of those other things that you can do and makes you money, but you absolutely hate it. Somebody loves them.
Man, and what you get to in that too is peace. This peace of mind, and how valuable is that?
And you've given someone else employment where they have that same enjoyment and success. Yeah.
You sure this is your first podcast?
It is not my first podcast,
okay.
But man, I absolutely,
you are killing it.
I want other people to know all of the pitfalls that I've had. This isn't my first company. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Most people would look and say serial failed entrepreneur, but the truth is I didn't know what I know now. And I want to help other people, simple things, banking relationships. Oh my gosh, you cannot believe we're going to bootstrap a business and by golly, we're going to make money and we're going to, but if I don't have the money, I can't take that job. Banking relationships are no different than vendor or customer relationships. Banks are there to help you because that's how they make money.
Yeah. Incentives. Yeah.
Period. And I think we talked about this briefly when we were getting together. Guess what? For a business, I don't need money. I need access to money. I need access to it when I need it. And we had someone come in and Chance and I have a learning curve that's probably, if I were to guess, in the 90th percentile. I need to see something once and I can figure it out.
Yes.
You seem the same way.
Yes.
Most entrepreneurs fit into that. So had I not been beating my head against the wall, I'm going to do this by myself because I'm a self-made, no one's self-made.
Man.
No one.
You're exactly right.
And those relationships, if you'll sacrifice, I don't want to pay interest. I paid $70,000 in interest last year. But you know what? We couldn't have run $7.5 million.
Yes. What did you make?
1%. How else do we make that happen? We were talking about opportunities, and maybe we get into this now.
Let's go.
The yes/no opportunity. Right now, we're evaluating an opportunity that may add $8 million to our bottom line in the next 12 months, or to our top line. Sorry, to the revenue line in the next 12 months. And it takes capital.
Yes.
But everybody views capital as cash. Okay, now let's break that down. What does the investment cost me a month? What can my vendors carry of that? How can I build that relationship where we can get this this division started with as little folding money as possible? And, people get into I love Dave Ramsey. I love Dave Ramsey's model for paying down debt. I believe in it 100%, unless you're trying to grow a business.
Yes, you're exactly right.
But there are ways to make banks happy, and a bank is just like everybody else. It took us 7 opportunities to get in front of the right bank that said, I believe in this. And your proposal looks really good. You've justified this. You're showing me how you're going to pay me back. So many people want to go to the bank and say, I need a loan. This is my thought. But if you don't have a thought out plan, they want to know how you're going to pay it back. And if you can go sell that to the bank while you're selling everybody else at the same time, you'll find a bank that will absolutely jump in with you feet first and go to work and battle with you. Those relationships are invaluable in a small business because you're going to have a month that you lose money.
Yes.
You're going to have 2 months that you lose money. And how do you deal with that? You've got a float. You've got a relationship that helps you with that. You've got AR coming in. Oh, guess what? A factoring company will be glad to take 7 or 8% of your money every month that you don't get paid on that and tie up your capital. There's a place for factoring. There's absolutely, in construction, it's huge. Why does it cost so much to build? Because a lot of these companies are losing 7 and 8% of their profit to a factoring company that's doing nothing but supplying the money.
Now, tell us what a factoring company is.
So factoring is a way of financing invoices.
Okay.
So if you come to me and you say, Nate, I need you to do this job for me. Well, if I don't have the money to do it, I'm going to do the job, invoice you, send you the invoice for it, but you're not going to pay me for 30 or 45 days.
Okay.
Okay. Typical construction, sometimes 90. Not because that's the way the contract is, but that's the real world. Okay. But if I send that same invoice to a factoring company, they'll front me, depending on the agreement, 85 to 90% of the money, and they'll hold on to that 10 to 15% until that invoice gets paid. Oh, by the way, paid to them, not to you anymore.
Okay.
And then based on how many days you've had that loan front of your own money determines what percentage they keep.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could find it here pretty quick, but my understanding is the average of that is 7 to 9%. If you're running a business and you can afford to lose 7 to 9% of your bottom line revenue or bottom line income, man, I want to be in that business and I'll front the money for that. If I can give up
You'll
that.
be the factoring company.
But now there are a place for it because there's risk. But if you've got a bank and people will go, well, I've got a line of credit, but that line of credit costs me 9%. It's 9% annually. And you're only being charged interest on what you borrow or what you have out on a daily rate. Let me run some numbers. Let's run some numbers on this.
This is the business minds.
For example, let me say that I've got a $100,000 line of credit. Okay. I'm going to borrow all of it for 30 days. Let's say it's at 9%. So that's $9,000 if I have it out for the entire year. Okay. 9 divided by 365. These are rough numbers.
Yes, we're just using examples.
It costs me $24 a day to borrow $100,000 on a line of credit. Now you've got to have some collateral, inventory, accounts receivable.
You can prove you can pay it back.
Yeah. So now if I have to have that for 25 days, that $100,000 cost me $616.
That's pretty good.
Divided by 100,000, it's 0.6% versus a factoring company that's going to take 7 to 9% for carrying it. Get a relationship with a bank and a banker. Accounts receivable financing is done all the time as a line of credit. But again, you've got to have your ducks in a row. You've got to have your financials for your company. They don't have to be fancy. You can use QuickBooks. You don't have to have a CPA certified.
That was my next question. How did you put that together?
So we use an industry software that is all of ours, that $30,000 we spent and, $10,000 a year to maintain, update, all of that. But that's now. And so they want to see a P&L, your profit and loss statement. They want to see your balance sheet and they want to see what your accounts receivable are. Currently, most accounts receivable line of credit financing, it's set up on an annual basis. So they'll approve you for a rate and a term of a year, but they want to see it monthly or quarterly to make sure that you've sold enough to cover what you're borrowing. And that may be, depending on the bank, they're only going to loan you, they're going to require 125 or 130% of your loan or your line of credit in AR. So to say, if you have a $100,000 line of credit that you can borrow against, they're going to need to see your accounts receivable at 125,000 or 130,000, depending on the bank, the relationship, your collateral. If you have anything else as collateral, your credit personally, if that's the situation. But how else can you go out there and most people don't know that this exists. They see the factoring companies because those factoring companies are coming after you. If you've got a business, you're getting
bombarded
with these loans from, people from you're approved for $250,000 of financing. Yeah. Read the fine print. And if they want daily or weekly payments, it's not a legitimate loan. They're a loan shark, but it's legal. Thank goodness we have not fallen pitfall to that. But there's a lot of businesses and these all have places. But if you can just develop a relationship with your banker, and my banker won't want to hear this, he'll listen to the podcast, but the best thing you can do for your business is shop your banking.
Like you're supposed to do everything else. Huh?
Shop it like you do your insurance.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for rates, but it may not always serve you. Here's the other thing. As you're building business credit, most regional banks don't report that. There's not a single loan that I have with a bank for a vehicle, for a piece of equipment, for a line of credit that reports to a credit bureau or a credit agency. So you don't see that on a business credit report, right? Other items will, and there's trade lines that will, but that's a full-time job just managing that so that when a trade vendor wants to pull your credit and see what your credit looks like, you have to manage that. You have to get with Dun & Bradstreet. Right now, that's something we're working on. We're, last year, like I say, $7.5 million company. Dun & Bradstreet's report says that if you're giving us credit, you should only give us about $20,000. We had 10 vendors we paid more than $50,000 last year. No, I'm sorry. 5 vendors more than $500,000 last year. But if you just pull out a credit report, they're going to say, give them 20,000. And man, managing the business of the business is something I never wanted to do. So I'm learning this at 50 years old. And I'm excited about conversations like this because I want every person who hears this to now go to YouTube and research accounts receivable line of credit and what it can do for their business. Go on Chat GPT. GPT.
Yeah, you're saying it right.
I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm old, okay?
You're good.
So, but go on there and ask whatever you've named your chat what an accounts receivable line of credit is and how you can make it.
Yeah, it'll lay it out for you.
Step by step. And chances are, if you ask what regional banks are really good at it, because some are and some aren't. Some regional banks are real estate banks, right? They do real estate really well, but they don't do commercial loans or commercial lines of credit. Credit unions. If you're a member of a credit union, people forget, man, they're in business to make money too, and they want to see your small business succeed. Now, they'll have a smaller limit that they can do those kinds of things, but if you're getting started, go to your credit union.
My dad lives and dies by a credit union. So now I loved all those wisdom and information you gave right now, but I also want to touch on, so let's say I want to go get this loan and I follow your instructions. I get this loan, but what type of plan do I need to have beforehand on how I'm going to spend it so I don't mismanage what I'm trying to do? Now, I may have an opportunity, but how does that opportunity have to already be planned out? Like, okay, we get this loan. How much is this? How much? You see what I'm saying? How do we break that down to where we're using it for what it needs to be used for? Because you hit a point earlier. You said, "Oh, I made this sale, but I didn't make all that money like that." So kind of talk to that aspect too of like, hey, you're getting these loans, but we want to use this money to grow, not just.
So one of the things that becomes hard on a line of credit is paying it back because it's a revolving line of credit. It's a credit card, right? Early on, I've had lines of credit in the past that I didn't fully understand, and it's real easy. You know what? I drew down that $100,000 and then I got that $125,000 check that I was making off of if you use it for your raw materials or you use it to pay for labor or whatever you're using it for, the key is to pay it back and pay it down, because what the bank wants to see, a successful line of credit is a roller coaster.
Okay.
Borrow it, bring it back down, pay it down. Borrow part of it, pay it off. Bring it up, use all of it, pay it off, because what that shows them is health. It shows them that you didn't use that line of credit to buy a piece of machinery that you're not making money on to pay it back quickly. So an accounts receivable line of credit is designed it's designed for that. You can use it for whatever you want, but you've got to be disciplined to use it for cost of goods sold, for overhead, for a project, or for raw materials to make this, to sell these. And then when you sell those, you pay it back. And what you have left is your money. Now, I overuse this term, but I think it makes sense. Now, in the last year, we have gone from playing checkers with a line of credit to playing chess.
Okay.
So the way our line of credit works is we have what's called a sweep account. Remember my comment that I don't need money, I need access to money? So every payment that comes in from every client every day goes into our operating account, and then that night the bank sweeps every penny out.
Okay.
And goes straight to our line of credit.
Okay.
To pay down or off the line of credit, depending on what the balance is. So if I owe $100,000 on my line of credit, but everybody's worried, oh, I need money. I just got this check. Now I need money for this and I need money for that. I owe $100,000 on my line of credit. I get a $75,000 check from another job, goes into my bank account. Now my line of credit balance is $25,000. I still have access to that $75,000 I put in, but it's the discipline to not overspend, no different than your checking account overdraft. So now I go the air quotes. Now I've got an invoice that I've got to pay for $25,000. I write the check. My line of credit goes and pays that check. So now my balance on my line of credit is I owe the bank $50,000 and I still have zero in my operating account. Okay. But by sweeping that, now I put $75,000 in the bank from another job. My line of credit's at zero and I've got $25,000 in the bank. I don't have to be as disciplined with it. And the bank sees it do this every day. Now you've got to be careful and you've got to manage it, because every quarter or every month, they're going to look at your accounts receivable and say, oh, this month you only have $90,000 in accounts receivable. So you only have $82,000 in available line of credit. And I'm just using this as a reference, but you've got to be sure to manage that. But it allows you to not worry about, hey, I need $5,000 for payroll this week. Okay, great. Now I can go take a job that I don't have the cash in the bank sitting there for. And by that dual sweep account, by our calculation, it reduces our interest rate on that line of credit by.
Oh, man.
So now I'm paying 4.5% annually on what I have available. I don't need money. I need access to it.
Now you are a smart man, Nate. I don't throw that around. I said, but hold on. This is what I'm getting to. Where did you learn that? Did you just go up and read it, or did you also have the wisdom to be like, hey, I need to stay in my lane and I need to bring other people in and learn from them? So how did it go back? Did you just magically learn all this, or did you?
This education started for me about a decade ago. Yep. Chance was being recruited. Chance was a 4-time preseason Under Armour All-American baseball player.
Oh, man.
He was a stud. Now he's about to be a girl dad. Anyway. But
I'm one.
Hey, I've got a girl too, and absolutely excited. Second grandchild. So let me just throw that in there. Okay. But we were on our way to Mesa, Arizona to watch him play a national tournament. And we took the obligatory side of the road picture. It was 280 pounds of chewed bubble gum. And after calling a few of my friends and maybe using a few choice words about how they let me get there, I got a treadmill and I started walking on a treadmill every morning. 3:30, 4 a.m., whatever it was, a couple hours on the treadmill, and YouTube. We have access to information like, I would love to tell you that I've been to the Neely School of Business. I've got a good friend that teaches there at TCU. I would love to tell you that I have that education. I don't. I'm a crayon eater that has had to learn and scrape and figure things out. And that's exactly what I don't want other people to have to do. People will sell you all kinds of programs and all kinds of shiny, flashy BS. Invest your money in education. And that doesn't mean school. That means networks. That means YouTube. Go look up, literally. Type into YouTube accounts receivable financing, accounts receivable line of credit, and watch the first 10 videos. Some of them are cartoons that someone has put together. And then dig in further and go down the rabbit hole and call your banker. Books. You'll hear me, Alex Hormozy has hit the scene in the last couple of years.
Hey, he's nice. I love his personality, everything. Yeah.
1000%. And you know what people never record? They never record their rise. They get there, they have the ability to tell you how to get there, but they have to tell their story about their failures. And now you're seeing people document their failures along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex and Layla, I don't know them. But I digest their information and he breaks it down where a crayon eater can.
Man, you're on point with him. I like Alex. And I got introduced to his wife first. And I was
Layla.
like, man, she's amazing. She was
Mhm.
on an interview and then she started talking about her husband. And then so I didn't even know him first, but I had seen her. She was talking about how to use money. And I was thinking like, wow, the way I grew up, I never had that mentor or people to tell me kind of these type of things. So it kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
Then I saw her husband. I was like, wow, that's a cool couple to be able to do that and be open. They're really open about everything. I love how he says, hey, I'm in this to make money, which we should all be.
Yeah. But he follows his own program.
Yeah.
All of his books, what, $1? If you want one of his books, you can get it for $1. Or you can Audible it for, $100 a year for 12 books. That's the cheapest education you can get. If you don't have an Audible account and you drive any time during the day and you're listening to Jazz 105 or Rock FM or what, you are wasting your energy. Digest that information. I go down the rabbit hole. Dan Martell, Alex Hormozy, 300 other people that give information away for free.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn more from their free stuff than spending thousands and thousands of dollars at a seminar that somebody's going to stand up and rah. And I've been to back in the day, who was the sales? I'm trying to, man, they would fill coliseums to teach you how to sell. And you know what you got? A day's lost production from actually selling. But these guys, you can digest it with YouTube and with all of the access to that information. All you have to do is take it in. And one of them, they all run together for me, but it's never been easier to do nothing and survive. And it's never been easier to be in the top 1% by just putting in a little effort. And man, so I turn on the YouTube when I'm working out or when I'm training or when I'm on the treadmill or when I'm driving or I'm digesting a book.
I'm going to use that digesting. I'm going to use that.
My wife refuses to let me say I read the book. But I mean, for me, it goes back to, are you familiar with Tim Ferriss?
Tim, the why? No. Tim Ferriss is 4-hour
work week.
4-hour work week. Yes.
That was one of the first books that I really started digesting. I was like, okay, do I want a 4-hour work week? Absolutely not. I want a 60-hour work week. But the tools and tips in that, and I'm not sure how old you are, you're younger than me, but when I was young, it was, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. But now people my age look at today's youth that uses technology, that uses all of these things to work smarter, not harder. And we go, oh, well, they're just lazy. You know what? If I hear from someone my generation one more time, oh, this new generation, they're just lazy. Guess what? So were we, comparatively.
Yes. Every generation kind of complained about it.
But the access to information. So, and we talked about it. A few of our employees there have asked or have convinced me to start a podcast. And it is, we've now taped canned 3 that are being edited and whatever. But I didn't realize the information. I don't do my own script. Guess what does the script? Chat. But it's gotten to know me.
Yes, you could train it.
And what I do. And they've put this in front of me so that I can just get my voice out there. If one person hears this and says, you know what, I'm going to go to my local banker and I'm going to get a $500 or $1,000 line of credit, it's worth every ounce of what you and I put in here. If you get one person call you because they need a website,
Mhm.
because they need this marketing, because they need this, and they understand the value of
Value. Yes.
it's worth
It's worth it.
every ounce of the effort.
It's
Because no, we talked about it earlier. No one does it on their own.
no.
You cannot succeed on your own.
That's even funny. Where did that even become a part of entrepreneurship? It may be due to social media and you're looking at other people success. You believe they're successful when you're only seeing about 5% of what the real thing is. You're not seeing everything behind it. And I think some people kind of lie to themselves, because I've had people who didn't have an Oprah budget. We asked, what kind of website do you want? And they go to Oprah.com. And I'm like, do you realize that took a long time to get there? Like, let's start with where you are right now. And then we can plan out your 90-day growth. But are you listening to what you're saying? Or maybe they don't understand the whole picture. So I had to reel that in. So this is a breath of fresh air to be talking to you about this, man, because you're hitting a lot of points that I don't even have to really talk as much. I love it. I actually love it. And I've learned a lot too, because I was one of the entrepreneurs that I wasn't taught credit could be useful.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was coming up, it was like, oh, credit bad, credit bad, credit bad. But I had to realize I'm talking to people who aren't using credit for the right things. They were using it to go on vacation or buy car, do a lot of different things.
You mean the social media entrepreneur and the Ferrari and the Lambo?
Yeah, that's renting. Yeah,
and they may be buying it, but
right.
If you're 22 years old, if you're not paying cash for those things, stop. Go get yourself an F-150 and build a business.
Yeah, and me and you, man, this is amazing, man. When you start your podcast, I'm going to be the first one to subscribe to that and be on there.
I want you to come on with me, because I want you to tell your story instead of the other way around. For me, it's a new game. It's now the business side. I hope he listens to this. I am actively pursuing a director of sales or sales manager or whatever title. I'm not big on it. Just get the job done. Yeah. Which is why we have an accountability chart, not a hierarchy chart.
Okay.
We have an accountability chart, because the person in that seat today may not be the person there tomorrow, but that seat is there. And so I'm actively pursuing this person, and it's a huge cost, But I want people to understand that now the game for me is business. And somebody says, well, why don't you be the sales manager? It's not my game anymore. I still sell. Mm-hmm. I'm still a technical resource. And, as I've handed off my friends and clients to our sales team, they manage the day in, day out. My friends still call me because we talk about this weird detail, or, hey, have you seen this? Or because we've been in the market for 25 years together, But for me, this is the new game, and this is why I'm not bored. Because selling metal, it's not sexy. It's not... I'm sure you've looked at my social media. It gets repetitive and boring. I sell coils and flat sheets. How sexy can you make coils and flat sheets of metal? You can't. But for me, it's building this business in an industry consolidation. Just this past week, 2 more companies got bought up by major corporations, and we have advantages over both and beat them all day, every day, because we haven't lost focus where we started this conversation. Everyone in our organization is focused on and when we watch all this consolidation happen, and we watch these big companies take over other big companies, and, our joke, Chance and I last week was, maybe we should go buy a really bad company like these companies are doing, instead of just letting them fail, but they're merging because everybody knows how to do it better, and then nobody does it better, and customers are the ones that pay the price.
Yeah, all the time.
Which is when they come to us.
Mm-hmm.
So business is the game for me personally now, and I know he's going to listen to this, because he's already told me he's listened to a couple of other podcasts we've been on, and when I hire him, I'll bring him on.
Yeah.
Because that'll be a great story. I've been working on this guy for 1.5 years, and he's a good friend, and he works for technically a competitor of ours. We don't run into them a bunch, and technically they are, and we'll see what happens. Cookies on Friday, I tell him.
I'm thinking I can predict the future on it. But man, Nate, this has been amazing, man. This has been a great podcast, brother.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. One thing I would like you to do, What kind of nugget do you want to leave the people that are listening, the entrepreneurs, visionaries, the small business that are listening to this?
So what I have learned, more important to me than anything else, most visionaries are horrible at implementing their, okay? I'm one of them.
I know where you go. Yes.
Although partnerships very seldom work, every visionary needs someone to implement their vision. And that's part of EOS. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't even recognize it until someone slapped me in the head with it. And if you're a true visionary who gets bored with the details, there are tests out there. Are you a visionary or are you an implementer? And you're an implementer. Whether that's a business partner where one's an operations person and one's a salesperson, great. It's a beautiful pairing. Or hire one. Because I found one. And Benny, when you're listening, man, I have found the most amazing implementer, fit right in with a culture. It's so hard when you've hired people and then you hire someone that could be viewed as their boss, but what they're really there to do is integrate and be a go-between. And our teams really absorbed that and really bought into that. Our implementer is not in charge of them. He's there to make their life easier and to take what we envision. Chance and I, and our partnership, Chance and I's partnership's a little different. He runs one division of the company. We joke he's kind of special operations and does his own thing. But the rest of the business is now under the purview of our implementer. And he hit the ground running because we made the right hire. And something we want to talk about, I want to say it was Seth Rogen. Anyway, I can't remember who it was. When you're going to hire people, bring them in, interview them. Offer them, ask them to come work for you for 2 days, work with you, see the company, see what you do, see what their job will be, 2-3 days, pay them for their time.
Of course.
But let them interview you as well. Now, everyone in the company gets a view of what this person is, and they get to see what the company is. We've not hired a single person in our company that hasn't worked with us for at least 2 days and said, yes, I want to be a part of this team. I want to contribute to this team. And I really think that's part of why we've got the team that we have. Because if someone doesn't fit the mold, or someone in manufacturing says, man, that guy was out here and he made it very clear that, if we need help, he's not the guy.
He doesn't have our back.
Then that's not your guy. That's not your person. But man, we can talk about a whole, we could go on all day. But
no, that's perfect, man. That's exactly what I wanted. You've hit the nail on the head, man. I appreciate you, man, for coming out here. I want you back, and I'll come to wherever your podcast studio is, man. This is really cool. I really appreciate this coming out, and thank you guys for joining us on the podcast. As always, you can go to thebusinessminds.com. And check out our free resources, our community. You get your free 90-day business roadmap. And then check out our software and all the other resources we have available. Until next time, thank you. This has been the Business Minds Podcast.